go ahead and be the guy to ask the first question, which is, are we going to get the Joker in season 1? Everyone's asking, are we going to get the Joker in season 1?
You will probably get. Well, here's the thing: the Joker doesn't spring out fully formed in the makeup and the costume. You will probably get someone who could become the Joker. One of the great fun things about this show in general, making it and being in it, is there are already expectations. Normally when you write in a show, you have to start from scratch and you have to create expectation. Here, it precedes the show by, obviously by a generation. So we'll be very careful because Joker is the crown jewel of the Batman villains. So we're going to wait until we get the show up and running and really know what we're doing. Because the thing with TV as opposed to movies is, for a while there, you're kind of juggling and seeing what balls stay in the air and what drop. Once we have a real sense of where the show is and what people are enjoying about it and how to make it work, then we'll bring in the Joker, but we'll bring in him carefully.
Is that part of the process of the shows for the villains? Because obviously as Batman fans, everyone's going to say, when is the Penguin coming in? When is the Riddler? So it seems like you're very calculated with how you kind of, it seems like that's how they're kind of all being involved in the show.
Yeah, listen, I mean, if I had my druthers, we would have started the Penguin, for instance, even wearing the fancy clothes before anyone called him Penguin. But there's, to use the dirty word, there's marketing aspects of the show and expectations that you have to fulfill. And if you really did a clean origin story starting from it, then there would be no one anyone recognized until halfway through the season, and that would be a very writerly clever thing to do, but you wouldn't get, you need to deliver what people are expecting and want to some degree. So Penguin was the natural choice for that, because he seems like he would always come out fully fledged as who he is. There is no transformation that you need to see. So he's very much, the first year is very much about his rise to power.
Was it then a lot easier to create a character like Jada? Because he's not somebody who has to play around with them.
It was easier and harder. I mean, it was very much a character created precisely because there's not enough adult women in this universe at this stage, and we wanted someone with real power and oomph and kind of agency. And it allowed us to give her a history and a past that we can have freedom with. But as she rolls forward, it's important that she remains consonant and part of that DC universe. So we were very, very, very lucky to get Jada in the role, because once Jada's there doing her thing, the character immediately came into focus, and it was very clear that we had someone who could take this to great dark places that needed to go.
Did the character come before Jada? Or
Yes. The character came before Jada. She was always a powerful female gangster, but as soon as Jada expressed interest in the part, then we sat down and talked through how we could develop the character and build it out, and there she is. Sorry, let me...
As for the format of the show, since it's a procedural, are we expecting kind of a case-by-case episodic format, or is it going to be more serious?
Well, it's both. There's a procedural framework and a serialized storyline going through both. Some episodes will be completely serialized. I think this first year, episode 7 is completely serialized. But week by week, we're telling a standalone crime story that is resolved in that episode whilst telling the larger saga. It means, from a technical point of view, the procedural elements are kind of squished a little. You won't get a sort of Law and Order type of plodding through the beats of a detective story. It will happen much quicker and snappier. But yeah, that's essentially the format, both.
What do you think is the secret of finding the right balance of fan service and keeping it also grounded and something that would be relatable to everybody, that maybe even if they weren't a fan of the Batman franchise, but also at the same time maybe doing a certain amount of fan service so that the fans feel like you are doing it justice?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. It's one of those questions. It's a big question, but can only be answered by the fans. And whether they say we think about it, but kind of just have to let it flow. I am not a world expert on Batman and the DC universe because, especially now I'm here, you realize, no, there's people who have written theses and master's theses on Batman and this world. You can never hope to be a real expert on the thing, but to a degree that's helpful because this is the journey of discovery, not a journey of laying out the documentary facts. And to me, it's much with the real fans. It's much more about indicating to them that we got their back, and that we don't do things that are not consonant with that view of the mythology, or if we do it, for instance, people, well, she's not Ivy Pepper. That's not her name. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And sometimes the tight true fans will have to trust that we know and we're ahead of it, and we'll explain why things happen the way they did. That's the advantage of origin stories. It's like you know your parents, but until you see pictures of them when they were kids, you don't really know them. There's whole aspects of them that you could be an expert in, but no, they had a life before that. And as much as possible, we're trying to deliver to the fans that life before, the things you didn't know. Because as soon as they become, Joker, for instance, we can't top Heath Ledger. We can explain how he became Heath Ledger, and that's almost as interesting or more interesting to me. But anyway, that's the logic in there.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.